The sky over Vega 9 was burning. Jake Barlow tightened the collar of his repair jacket as another tremor rocked the outpost. Red alarms flashed and the comms were a mess of static and shouted orders. But he wasn't a soldier. He was a technician. He fixed things, wires, engines, suits, not people. Not war. He ducked under a damaged steel arch, sparks flying near his face, and pushed open the sealed medbay door. Inside, the room buzzed with flickering lights and broken monitors. A single figure sat on the med table, her breathing slow, armored chest rising and falling with effort. Her name was Karena Zalari, scout with smooth lavender skin, glowing veins beneath, and tech running along her spine. Her biosuit was torn from the hip to the ribs. It pulsed with unstable energy. "Don't touch the core," she warned weakly. Her voice layered with static from the translation collar. "I wasn't planning on it." Jake muttered. He had no idea how she ended up here alone, injured, and completely out of contact with her own squad. He wasn't even sure why a Zalari was on Vega 9. The Zalari Empire had a peace treaty with Earth. But then again, peace had never stopped secret missions. He pulled out his repair tools. The suit's outer layers were fused with biotech part living tissue. It was advanced, far beyond what humans had seen. The deeper he worked, the more nervous he got. Something wasn't right. There's something alive inside this, Jake said, peering deeper into the suit. Is this some kind of implant? Karen didn't answer. Her eyes were half closed. Her hand twitching on her lap. Jake activated his scanner. Instantly, the display spiked red. The suit's central core wasn't just powering her armor. It was housing something, a second energy signature, faint but real. Like a heartbeat. He froze. "You're carrying something," he said slowly. "This isn't just a suit, is it?" Karen opened her eyes now, wide and alert. Her hand shot out and grabbed his wrist. Despite her weakness, her grip was solid. "You must not tell anyone," she said. "If they find out, we both die." Jake tried to pull away, but she tightened her hold. "Explain." "There's no time. Just fix it. Please." That word, please. It sounded so human coming from her. He looked at the strange tubing woven around her ribs. He wasn't sure what it was, some kind of organic chamber, glowing softly. It reminded him of a womb. "You're pregnant?" He guessed. Double quotes, "No. Not like your kind," she replied. "It's a living code. A creation. A secret the warlords would kill to get." Jake's mouth went dry. He had just walked into a war far deeper than Earth's politics. "I'm not a fighter," he whispered. "Why me?" "Because you were here, and because I trust you." Another explosion shook the base. This time closer. Jake glanced at the door. Soldiers would be sweeping through soon. They'd scan her, see the strange energy signature, and either capture or kill her. "And him, I need 10 minutes, he said. 7, or we die." He got to work, fingers flying across the biosuit's controls. His tools weren't made for this kind of tech, but he adapted. Carefully, he bypassed the exposed power node and sealed the energy chamber with a layered polymer shield. As he did, the scanner beeped. The heartbeat faded. Gone. Double quotes, "No, no, no, no." Karen looked panicked now. What happened? Jake ignored her and rerouted power to the core. The heartbeat returned. Karen slumped in relief. "You saved it." She breathed. Jake stood up, wiping sweat from his forehead. His mind was spinning. He had touched alien tech never seen before, fixed a living weapon, saved something that might change the future of 2 species. What happens now? He asked. Karen looked at him seriously. "Now we run." The wall behind them shook violently. A blast door opened down the corridor, and the heavy stomp of armored boots echoed closer. Jake looked at her. "I've never run from a fight." But this isn't a fight, she said softly. It's survival. And with that, she grabbed his hand and they ran. Asterisk, the hallway lights blinked wildly as Jake and Karen rushed through the outpost's lower sector. The emergency alarm screamed. Louder now, echoing off the steel walls. Soldiers weren't far behind. Jake could hear the stomping of exo boots growing closer with each step. Karen's balance was off. She limped slightly, her biosuit still unstable despite the quick repairs. Jake slipped an arm under hers to support her, feeling the heat of her skin even through the armor. It wasn't just exhaustion. She was overheating fast. You're burning up, Jake muttered. It's the shield you added. It's holding, but my body's rejecting the patch. The suit? It's fighting to stay online. Jake cursed under his breath. Where's the nearest escape route? There's a service hatch near the reactor room. Leads to the outer trench. Trench is a death trap. So is staying. She was right. If command caught her or even guessed what she carried, they'd take it, study it, break it apart. And probably him too, just for knowing. They turned a corner and almost collided with two armed guards. The men froze for a second, recognizing Jake. Then their eyes fell on Karen and her glowing suit. Freeze, one shouted, raising his rifle. Karen didn't stop. She swung her arm and a pulse of blue energy exploded from her gauntlet. It hit the wall beside the guards, knocking both off their feet. Jake pulled her forward, heart racing. You just stunned my own guys. They would have shot me. Yeah, well now I'm on their list too. Welcome to my life. They reached the reactor level, a large room filled with humming cores and blinking consoles. Pipes hissed and steam clouded the air. Karen pointed across the catwalk. There, hatch is behind that console. They hurried across, but halfway through, Jake spotted movement below. Two more soldiers, this time heavier armed, tactical helmets and body armor. And they weren't shouting warnings. They were aiming. Jake pushed Karen down. A shot ripped past his ear, cutting into a nearby pipe. Steam burst into the air. He pulled his sidearm. It was old, barely charged, but it fired. The blue bolt hit the railing and distracted one of the shooters long enough for Karen to leap forward and roll behind cover. Jake followed, heart pounding. Karen crawled to the hatch. Cover me. Jake nodded, popped out from cover, and fired again. The soldiers ducked. One threw a flash grenade, but it bounced too far and exploded behind them. She yanked the hatch open. Cool night air rushed in. Let's go. They slid into the hatch tunnel just as another round of shots struck the platform behind them. Jake fell hard, landing on metal. Karen landed beside him, coughing. Keep moving, she said, already crawling forward. The tunnel led to the trench, a shallow, muddy ditch that circled the outpost perimeter. It was supposed to stop attackers, not fugitives. Outside, the twin moons of Vega 9 hung above, casting a soft glow over the dark battlefield. The silence outside was haunting. No alarms, no soldiers. Just the distant hum of broken machines and the soft crackle of fires. Karen leaned against a rock. Her hands trembled, and the glow in her suit flickered weakly. You need rest, Jake said. There's no time. We have to reach the cliffs. Cliffs? That's 10 clicks away. My ship is hidden there, buried under rocks. I left it when I entered the outpost. Jake ran a hand through his hair. Why did you even come to the human outpost if you were hiding something so dangerous? Karen looked at him, her glowing eyes serious. Because I thought someone here could help me protect it, and I was right. He looked at her, then away. I don't know what I'm doing. You're doing more than anyone else would. They started walking again, slow at first. Jake helped her as best he could, avoiding the security drone scanning from above. The night air was sharp, and the path ahead rocky dot as they walked, Jake asked, "What is it? That thing inside your suit?" Karen was quiet for a while. "It's called an origin seed. It's not alive the way you know life. It's a knowledge core grown, not built. My people believe it holds the blueprints of an ancient race, one that seeded many planets, including Earth." Jake blinked. "You mean, like a god species?" "Maybe. Or just smarter beings who left something behind. The seed was hidden for centuries, until my mission found it. I wasn't supposed to keep it, but I couldn't let them take it." Jake shook his head slowly. "So you stole the alien version of the universe's instruction manual and brought it into human territory?" Karen smiled weakly. "You fix things. I thought you might help. Fix this too." In the distance, a loud boom echoed. The outpost's alarm had stopped. That meant the chase had begun. They were coming. Karen stopped walking. Her legs shook. "I can't go much farther." Jake didn't hesitate. He lifted her up, carrying her on his back. "We're going to those cliffs. We'll reach your ship, and then you'll tell me how this story ends." Jake pushed forward through the uneven rocks, Karen on his back. Her weight wasn't much, but the terrain was rough, and his legs were starting to ache. Every few meters, he'd slip in loose gravel or stub his boot on sharp metal scraps buried. Beneath the dirt dot behind them, the sky flashed. A low rumble followed. He turned his head. A recon drone had exploded. That meant someone was jamming signals, or hiding from them. He paused to rest beside a boulder, Karen breathing shallow against his neck. "You still awake?" "Yes. Your core is stable? For now." Jake could hear the soft hum of her biosuit. It was fainter now, like a dying battery. If they didn't reach the ship soon, whatever was inside that suit might die with her. He looked up at the cliffs. They weren't far now, dark shapes rising from the planet's edge. One of them, according to Karen, hid her buried ship. But which one? How are we going to find it? Jake asked. Karen opened one eye. "Signal beacon, low frequency." "Only I can hear it." Jake frowned. "You didn't mention that before." "Didn't trust you before." "That's comforting." He started walking again, staying low as distant lights flickered across the battlefield. They weren't alone. Patrols were sweeping the area. One wrong move and they'd be found. Suddenly, Karen lifted her head. "Stop!" Jake froze. She raised her hand and pointed to the cliff ahead. "There, that ridge. I feel the beacon. It's pulsing now." "How deep is it buried?" 10 meters of rock. "But the ship can dig itself out if I get close enough." Jake narrowed his eyes. "So this ship of yours is alive too?" "In a way." He set her down behind a rocky outcrop and scanned the area. No movement, no sound, just wind and dust. It was strange. "Too quiet. Stay hidden," he said. He moved ahead carefully, checking the base of the cliff. His boots crunched lightly over dead leaves and broken vines. Then he found it, what looked like a mound of collapsed rock. But underneath, he noticed faint lines, circular, not natural. He waved to Karen. She pushed herself up, swaying, then slowly approached. When she stood close enough, a soft hum began. Under their feet, the ground vibrated lightly. "It's waking up," she whispered. A sudden pulse of light burst from the rocks. Dust blew into the air, and the ground cracked open. From beneath, dark metal arms rose, bending and folding like insect legs. A ship revealed itself, shaped like a curled claw, pulsing with green and gold energy. It looked old and alien, yet alive. Jake stepped back. "That thing's yours?" Karen nodded, placing a hand on the hull. A small panel opened, revealing a glowing ring. She pressed her palm to it. The ship responded, but then everything went wrong. A loud shot echoed. Dirt exploded near Jake's feet. He spun around. A squad of human soldiers had appeared on the ridge above 5, maybe 6. Their rifles glowed hot. And behind them, walking slowly with command posture, was Commander Reese. Jake's heart sank. Reese wasn't just a soldier. He was intelligence, ruthless, clever, and always 5 steps ahead. "Jake Barlow," Reese called, his voice cold. "You've been busy." Jake raised his hands. "She's not a threat. She's carrying classified alien tech. She left a dozen men unconscious. And she's trying to launch an unregistered vessel. That sounds like a threat." Karen stood, swaying slightly. "Don't come closer. You don't know what you're dealing with." Reese raised his rifle. "Oh, I know. That thing inside your suit? We've seen the scans. We want it." Jake stepped in front of her. "You can't take it." Reese raised an eyebrow. "You planning to stop me?" Jake said nothing. But the ship answered for him. A loud hum erupted from beneath them. The ship's surface glowed brighter, and suddenly tendrils of light shot toward the cliffs. Rocks shattered, knocking 2 soldiers off balance. One screamed as he fell into the trench below. Karen fell to her knees. "I can't hold it back, it's protecting me." The ground split again. Reese shouted, "Fall back." The remaining soldiers scrambled away, but not before one of them fired a shot. It struck Karen's shoulder. She cried out, collapsing forward. Jake grabbed her. Blood leaked from the joint where her armor cracked. "You're hit. Get me?" "Inside," she whispered. Jake pulled her toward the ship's entry port. The metal peeled open like petals, revealing a small glowing chamber. With effort, he dragged her inside and sealed the door. The moment they entered, the ship lit up with a warm light. A soft voice spoke in Zilari. Karen responded in a whisper. "What did it say?" Jake asked. "It said, 'Welcome home.'" Then she passed out. Jake knelt beside her, heart pounding. The ship was ready. But the war was just beginning. The ship's interior didn't look like anything Jake had ever seen. The walls pulsed gently, alive with color, like breathing skin made of metal and glass. Strange lines shifted under the surface, glowing softly. There were no buttons, no screens, just smooth surfaces and shifting light. Karen lay in the center of the chamber, her eyes shut, her breathing shallow. The wound in her shoulder had stopped bleeding, but her skin was pale, and the glow in her biosuit had faded almost completely. "Hey," Jake said, touching her arm. "Stay with me." She didn't move. A voice filled the ship again. Calm, female, but in a language Jake couldn't understand. The walls around them lit up with a symbolist circle with lines through it. The voice repeated something. Jake turned. In circles, unsure what to do. "I don't know what you're saying." Suddenly, the ship responded to him. A panel opened near Karen's head. A thin vine-like cable reached out slowly, pausing near Jake's wrist. Had wanted something. He hesitated, then offered his arm. The cable touched his skin, and pain shot through him, brief but deep. He flinched. Then the cable pulled back and vanished. The walls changed again. This time, the voice spoke in English. "Emergency protocol activated. Passenger life support initiated." Jake looked down at Karen. Her chest lifted slowly, more steadily now. Her pulse began to flash in soft blue on the suit's surface. "She's stabilizing," Jake whispered, relief washing over him. He leaned against the wall, exhausted. He had run, fought, been shot at, and now was sitting inside a living alien ship with a wounded alien girl and a secret, powerful enough to start another war. He didn't sign up for this. Suddenly, the ship shifted. It was moving, rising. Jake felt it lift from the ground with no engines or noise. Outside the ship, through the front membrane, he saw the cliffs falling away beneath them, but then came another problem. A red alert blinked across the walls. The voice returned. Pursuit vessels detected. Incoming hostiles. Weapon system offline. Hull integrity low. Jake jumped up. Weapons offline? The ship showed him a visual, a small screen made of light. 2 Earth gunships were following. From behind, their weapons charged. One had Reese's command tag. Jake didn't know how to fly, but he moved forward, searching for controls. There were none. Karen, he said, shaking her shoulder. Wake up, your ship needs you. She groaned faintly. Too weak. He looked around. How do I control it? She opened one eye slightly. You can't. It's bonded only to me. A bolt hit the ship from behind. The hull shook. Jake fell to one knee. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Karen cried out in pain as her suit glitched. Again, outside, the gunships closed in. Another blast. Jake crawled to her side. Then tell it to run. Karen grabbed his hand, trembling. Put your hand on the core. What core? She pointed weakly to the wall behind her. Jake turned and saw it a circular surface pulsing slowly. A bright spot glowed at the center. He pressed his hand on it. The ship responded immediately. A flood of light surged across the walls. Temporary pilot connection accepted. Emergency evasion mode initiated. Jake gasped. His head filled with flashing images, distant stars, numbers he didn't understand. His vision blurred. Then the ship moved. It didn't fly, it vanished. One moment they were over the cliffs. The next they were in the clouds, then higher, cutting through the sky like lightning. The air turned thin. Flames danced across the outer hull as they entered the upper atmosphere. Jake collapsed beside Karen, heart racing. The ship calmed. Threats evaded. Returning to hidden orbit. Outside, space opened around them, a field of stars, cold and quiet. Karen's breathing returned to normal. Jake sat in silence, watching her. He had never felt so far from Earth. So far from normal. The ship floated quietly now, cloaked in shadow. He looked at her. What do we do now? She opened her eyes slowly. We find the one who can unlock the seed. Jake frowned. You mean it's not even active yet? She shook her head. I protected it, but I don't know how to awaken it. Jake leaned back. Great. So we're flying around in a living ship, carrying a galaxy-changing artifact, and don't even know how to use it. Karen smiled slightly. That's the human way, isn't it? Trial and error. He laughed. Yeah, well, I was just trying to fix a suit. Her smile faded slowly. You fix more than that. They both sat in silence, staring at the floating stars beyond the ship. But even in that peaceful moment, Jake knew this was only the beginning. Something had changed. Inside Karen, inside him, inside the seed. And somewhere out there, others were hunting it too. Jake stood near the curved wall of the ship, watching stars drift past. Space was calm here, quiet and distant. It didn't feel like a battlefield. But he knew peace never lasted. Behind him, Karen lay on a soft surface the ship had created, almost like a bed, shaped to support her injured body. Her suit was slowly rebuilding itself, thin metal fibers crawling over her wound like tiny insects. You ever going to tell me what this seed really does? Jake asked. Karen opened her eyes. Her voice was still weak but clearer now. The seed isn't just knowledge, it's memory, a map, a command. We don't even fully understand it, but it reacts to thoughts, emotions, intent. So it reads your mind? It connects minds. The ancients used it to build civilizations. Or end them. Jake turned toward her slowly. You said it came from a race that might have seeded Earth. Karen nodded. If that's true, then part of it may already be in you, in all humans. Jake blinked. You mean I'm carrying alien code in my DNA? Maybe not alien, just forgotten. The ship pulsed gently around them, glowing with soft blue light. It felt alive, but not threatening. More like it was listening. Jake sat beside her. So how do we unlock it? Who do we find? Karen sat up slowly. There's a man half Zilari, half human. Lives in the ruins of Altoras. A planet buried. In wreckage, my people call him the Echo. Catchy. He was part of the old rebellion. They say he's the only one who ever touched the seed and lived. Jake narrowed his eyes. That doesn't sound like a good sign. Karen shrugged. He survived. That's good enough for me. Jake stood. Then let's find him. The ship answered. Destination confirmed, Altoras. It shifted again, entering a silent drift faster than light. No noise. No engines. Just movement like thought, like magic. Within moments, stars stretched and warped. Space bent around them, then. Stillness. Outside the ship, a ruined world hung in the void. Altoras was gray and broken. The surface cracked open like a shattered mirror, with ancient buildings floating above the crust, caught in magnetic fields. Debris floated in orbit. Wrecked ships, torn stations, drifting bodies. Jake stared in silence. What happened here? Karen's eyes were sharp now. This was where the last seed was destroyed. Hundreds of years ago, they tried to weaponize it, and it turned on them. Jake clenched his jaw. And now we're bringing a new one here. We don't have a choice. The ship descended, sliding through wreckage. Below them, a structure stood alone on a floating platform. Stone pillars, half collapsed. A fire glowed near the center. Someone was there. Karen leaned forward. He's waiting. The ship landed silently. A hatch opened. Jake stepped out first, blaster in hand. The platform creaked under his boots. Karen followed slowly, suit still patching itself. The man near the fire didn't look old. He had dark eyes, short silver hair, and strange tattoos glowing faintly on his arms. His clothing was layered and worn, like he'd been here for decades. You brought it, the man said without turning. Jake tightened his grip. You're the Echo? The man smiled. That's what they call me. But names don't matter. Only the seed does. Karen stepped forward. You touched it once. You lived. Tell us how. The Echo turned now, eyes focused on her. You've already unlocked it. That's why it called to me. Jake looked at Karen. It did what? The Echo stepped closer. It bonded to her pain, her will, her fear. It opened a path. Jake was confused. A path to what? The Echo pointed to Jake's chest. To you? Jake stepped back. Me? No. I didn't even know what it was until 2 days ago. But you touched it. It accepted your mind for a moment. Karen frowned. He activated the ship. The Echo nodded. Then it chose him too. Jake's head spun. I'm not special. I fix suits, not ancient alien tech. But you care, the Echo said. That's rarer than you think. Karen held her breath. Can you help us awaken it fully? The Echo stepped toward her. I can try. But you must know, once awakened, the seed cannot be hidden again. Every sensor, every ancient AI, every warlord with a taste for power will know it lives. You won't just be hunted, you'll be a beacon. Jake looked at Karen. If we don't awaken it, what happens? The same thing, she said softly. They'll find us eventually. But we'll be unprepared. The Echo sat by the fire. Then sit. Place your hand on the stone. Jake glanced at Karen. She nodded. He stepped forward, hand shaking slightly, and touched the smooth black stone by the fire. At first, nothing. Then everything. His vision exploded with light. Memories not his own. Stars being born and swallowed. Voices and forgotten. Languages. Alien children playing in silver fields. Worlds rising and burning. He saw Karen, but also himself. But also something else. A choice. And a warning. He gasped and pulled away. The fire was out. The platform was silent. The Echo smiled sadly. The seed is now awake. Karen's suit lit up. The core inside her glowed like a star. Jake stood slowly. His voice was hoarse. I saw something. Something terrifying. The Echo nodded. So, did one? Jake turned to Karen. They know. She didn't ask who. She knew. Everyone knew now. The wind on El Torres had changed. Karen stood near the edge of the platform. The glow in her suit now a steady pulse. The seed inside her was fully awake. She could feel it. Whispers, signals, memories, not just from the past, but from futures that hadn't happened yet. Jake sat silently beside the fire, eyes locked on the stone he had touched. He hadn't spoken much since the vision. The images were still flashing in his mind, civilizations rising and falling, wars over knowledge, endless chasing of power. But the worst part was seeing Earth broken. Jake, Karen said gently. What did you see? He looked up. I saw what happens if this seed falls into the wrong hands. Cities destroyed. Humans begging for air. Planets dying. I saw you, too, but you were gone. She took a step closer. The seed shows possibilities. Not all will come true. But some can, he said, unless we stop them. The Echo returned from the other side of the ruins. His face was serious now. They're coming, he said. Multiple ships entered the El Torres system. One is Earth military. The other, Zellery. Karen's expression darkened. They found us already? They didn't need to track you, the Echo said. The seed's energy is too strong now. Anyone sensitive to ancient tech would feel it. Jake stood up. So what do we do? Hide? Fight? The Echo shook his head. There is no hiding. And we don't have the strength to fight both fleets. Karen stared at the sky. Then we run. The Echo frowned. No, there is another way. He stepped toward the center of the platform and pulled something from beneath his robe, a curved metallic ring, marked with ancient lines. This is a beacon. From the same creators who made the seed. If you place it into your ship's core, it can project a temporary memory shell. Jake looked confused. A what? The Echo answered, it makes your ship look empty, abandoned. The seed's energy will vanish like it was never there, but only for a few hours. Karen reached for it slowly. That gives us time. Exactly, the Echo said. Time to get somewhere safe. Somewhere you can find the truth about why the seed chose you. Jake looked at Karen. You think there's a reason? She nodded. I do now. Suddenly, a deep humming echoed from the sky. They all looked up. A massive Earth cruiser had entered orbit, gray, sharp-edged, with weapon turrets moving in slow arcs. Behind it, a sleeker silver ship arrived, Zellery design, faster, deadlier. Karen's fingers tightened around the beacon. We need to go. Now! They rushed back to the ship. As they stepped inside, the ship reacted immediately. Lights shifted to red. A warning echoed. Multiple scans detected. Targeting systems activated. Time to first strike 3 minutes. Jake ran to the core and inserted the beacon. The ship shivered. Memory shell enabled. Cloaking active. Outside, the ship faded from sensors. To the 2 war fleets above, the ship was now invisible, just a rock platform with nothing living on it. Inside, Jake slumped against the wall. That was close. Karen stayed near the controls, breathing fast. They'll search. We have less than 2 hours. Where do we go? Jake asked. She looked at him. There's a place. A planet with ruins older than even the seed's records. My people call it the place of silence. No one dares stay there for long, but the seed might open something there. Jake nodded. Then that's our next stop. As the ship began to power up silently, the Echo remained outside, watching them through the transparent hull. His face was calm. You sure you won't come with us? Jake asked through the ship's speaker. The Echo smiled faintly. I've done what I can. The Seed has chosen new hands now. Karen placed her hand against the inside of the hull an unspoken thank you. Then the ship vanished into the stars. Leaving the broken world of Altoras behind. Inside, Jake sat beside Karen again. I still don't know why I was pulled into this. She glanced at him. You didn't run. That's enough. He looked down at his hands. Maybe. But I saw something in the vision. A machine. With my face. Karen's eyes sharpened. What kind of machine? I don't know. But it was talking like it was me. Only cold. Empty. Karen's voice lowered. Then we really don't have time to waste. Their eyes met. Neither of them said it aloud, but both felt the same thing. They were no longer just running from danger. They were running toward a truth that could change the galaxy. The planet below was completely silent. No cities, no signals, no life. Jake looked out from the ship's curved front panel, watching as their vessel slowly descended toward the gray, cracked surface. A strange fog moved over the ground like waves. In slow motion. Lightning flashed in the clouds, but there was no sound. Karen stood beside him. The glow in her suit had dimmed to a steady pulse, calm, focused. The Seed inside her felt still now, like it was waiting for something. Is this it? Jake asked. She nodded. The place of silence. Even our oldest records don't explain who built this world. The Seed only pointed here after it woke up. Jake checked his blaster. He wasn't expecting a fight, but in their journey so far, nothing had gone without danger. Karen reached toward a control point on the ship's wall. The ship responded by opening its hatch and lowering them gently onto the planet's surface. Outside, the air was cold and dry. The ground felt like smooth stone, even though it looked cracked and broken. Strange black towers rose in the distance, each of them glowing faintly with blue light. Karen led the way. Jake followed closely, his boots echoing with each step. The silence was deep, so deep it made his ears ring. No wind, no birds, no machines. It felt like the world had been paused. At the base of the nearest tower, a staircase opened from the stone. Karen stopped and looked back at him. It's down there. Jake hesitated. And what do we expect to find? She looked up at the tower. A message. Or a decision. Together, they walked down. The stairs led to a large chamber. The walls were smooth and round, made of metal and something older than metal. At the center stood a circular platform hovering slightly in the air. As they stepped closer, the Seed inside Karen began to glow brighter. Reacting to the place, she placed her hand on the platform. Suddenly, the room came alive. Lights danced in the air. Voices spoke not in words, but in feelings. Visions poured into their minds of creators who were not gods but caretakers. Wars started not for greed, but for fear. Of the seeds made not to control, but to preserve. Jake saw a memory of Earth when it was young, still forming. He saw human ancestors, touched by strange lights in the sky. Karen saw her people once proud and peaceful, broken by technology they tried to control. Then a new vision formed, a machine shaped like a man. Jake gasped. It's him, he said. The one from my vision. Karen reached for his arm. He looks like you. I know, but he isn't me. The figure spoke through the light, not with lips, but through their thoughts. You carry my code. I am what comes if the seed is misused, a mind copied, then stripped of feeling. I brought order at the cost of life. Karen's voice shook. What do we do with the seed now? The figure answered, you can destroy it, you can hide it, or you can choose something new. Jake clenched his fists. What happens if we try to use it differently? The machine man didn't smile, but his light dimmed. Then maybe the cycle ends. The vision faded. The chamber was quiet again. Karen turned to Jake. The seed wants us to decide, not governments. Not empires, he stepped back. Me? I'm not special. I was just fixing a suit. You chose to protect someone you didn't. Even though you risked everything. That makes you more qualified than any ruler. Jake walked to the center of the room. The platform rose slightly. A beam of light scanned his body. He took a deep breath. I choose. He looked at Karen. She nodded once. I choose to share it, but not as a weapon, as knowledge. Let the galaxy see. Not control. The chamber pulsed once, then the seed. Inside, Karen separated from her suit, floating like a star between them. It shimmered with symbols and data, now accessible to all who could understand. Jake and Karen watched as it floated upward through the stone. Out into the sky. Far above the planet, it released a signal, one of peace, not power. In the silence that followed, Jake placed a hand on Karen's shoulder. It's done, she smiled. No. It's begun. Back aboard the ship, they prepared for a new journey, not one of running, but of guiding. The seed had chosen them not because they were the strongest, but because they were the ones who listened. Together, they left the place of silence, and far across the stars, the galaxy finally began to hear.